All right, welcome back to Astanza Tattoo Removal News. We're here again.
We're here.
Your place for all things tattoos, tattoo removal, laser technology, and more, and the latest on Pete Davidson.
That's right.
We're still trying to get him on the show.
Please, Pete.
I'm Brian Hassenbauer, VP of Marketing here at Astanza, and co-hosting with me today is Hannah Barling.
Thanks, Brian. Hello, everyone tuning in. Hannah Barling, Brand Marketing Manager here at Astanza. And I'm just really happy to be on set today with you, Brian, and sharing all great things tattoos and tattoo removal with those of you guys listening.
Yeah, and today we've got an action-packed show. We've got a lot of great stuff from our clients as always.
Yes.
We've got some great new resources that we're adding to our aesthetic resource library. And we're going to talk a little bit about the future.
Yes. What's next?
And the future is
now.
Today.
The future is
tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Wait, the future tomorrow is today.
Tomorrow's future
Today's
is
tomorrow,
today.
future's today. What's the slogan of like that Disney show thing?
The future of tomorrow. No. What is it?
Tomorrow.
Today is yesterday's future.
Yeah, something like
Whatever.
that.
I don't know.
Anyway, we're going to talk about the 2024 new look laser college
yeah,
schedule.
So we stay tuned.
Get y'all certified.
That's right.
In 2024. Does that sound fun?
Yes. Heck yeah. It's always fun. Just like this show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So make sure you stick around for that at the end of this episode so that you can go ahead and start planning for 2024.
That's right. And if this is your first time tuning in, don't know where you've been.
Yeah, but welcome.
We actually heard from someone the other day from Italy.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, your podcast in Italy, muy bonito. No, that's
bellissimo.
pretty. Bellissimo.
But that makes me think of the Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Anywho, yes.
But anyway, we don't speak Italian. It's not translated into Italian. It's not translated into any languages at this point.
Currently.
But maybe it's going to go global. I don't know.
You never know.
But yeah, so we're hearing from people all over the world that they're enjoying tattoo removal news because it's not everywhere. We're the only one doing it at the moment, which is great.
First and foremost.
So if you're seeing it on YouTube, like, share, comment. If you're listening to the podcast, click that subscribe button.
Yeah, leave
all
us
that.
a review. Let us know your rating.
Tell me a little bit more about that, Hannah. What do we want people to do?
We want them to like, subscribe, and follow, because there's always more. As we've mentioned, there's always more. And we do this show monthly, but we post content on all of those channels all day, every day. So there's plenty that you can get in between episodes here. But make sure you subscribe, make sure you check that out. You can view our past episodes on all of those channels we mentioned, whether it's Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all that good stuff. But I think we can dive into today.
Yeah.
Are we ready?
Are we ready?
I don't know.
Maybe we should tell people how to help us program the show.
Oh.
Because I know that sometimes we get comments that people are like, you guys don't talk about this enough, or I don't even understand how tattoo removal works. Can you talk about the myths of tattoo removal more?
Yeah, that's true.
How do we get the feedback so we can make our show better?
Yes, so besides the reviews and the comments, especially for more specific questions or ideas or anything like that, please send us an email. That's just marketing@AstanzaLaser.com. We would love to hear from y'all, even in that more in-depth format, and make sure that we're covering relevant topics and answering their actual questions.
Yeah. And I need to go somewhere. I'll be back in 1 second.
Oh no, he's leaving.
If you leave a comment or send us an email and give us your address,
yes,
we will send you an Astanza water bottle.
That's right. We may fill some stuff inside of it too.
So yeah, we want to hear from you.
They're not breakable.
They're not breakable.
Still
They're
intact.
dishwasher proof too.
That's
or
right.
Safe.
Yeah,
whatever.
all of the things. Proof, safe.
Send us
careful.
an email, leave us a comment, say, hey, I watched the podcast, I have a question, or hey, I just want a water bottle.
Yeah, we got you.
We'll get one out to you.
Yeah.
They are a limited quantity though.
That's true.
So we can only give out a limited amount. We won't say how many the limited amount is.
Yeah, top fans
but
only.
Test us.
Yes, test us. That's right.
So cool.
Yeah,
let's get into the show. Is that what we were trying to do 10 minutes ago?
Yes, we can
Before
never.
we started giving out swag and stuff like that?
We just have too much fun. We can never just hop right in. We've got to, leave some background, remind them of a couple things. They know where they're at. But if you did catch last episode, we shared a full recap of National Tattoo Removal Day, which is every year on August 14th. But there was one video that we saved for today's episode because we thought it just deserved its own sort of spotlight there. So do you have any idea which video I'm talking about, Brian?
Oh, the Dallas Cowboys training camp video?
What does it have to do with lasers?
the video of my birthday party in August, 2 days.
It was also a big
before
day. That's
National
right.
Laser?
That's right. That was the pregame to National Tattoo Removal Day.
Are we talking like something about lasers and
it has to do with
sciencey stuff?
Yes, yeah, warmer.
Like the nerdy guys.
Warmer. Yeah, you're close.
The nerdy guys?
Well, it's not. That's what we call them here. Not. That's right.
The scientific experts.
Yes,
guys,
they are that.
People.
Yes, the Astanza.
We need to change the guy thing to people.
You're right, people.
Because we do have some very smart.
Engineers. Yes, we do.
She, they.
Yeah. All of the above.
Here?
Yeah, all of the above.
So the scientific people.
The scientific people. The Astanza scientific people. But this episode, this video we're sharing, this episode of the show there is our guys. So they're the Astanza Science guys in this episode. But I would love to share that. It goes through the acronym. Did you know laser stands for something?
Yes.
Okay, well, we quizzed me last time.
Isn't that common knowledge?
It's not common knowledge. Laser actually is an acronym that stands for something, which is what the science guys are going to tell us in this video.
Yeah. When everyone asked me what it stood for when I first started, I was like, light, radiation.
That's it, exactly. So don't have us explain it. Have our science folks explain it.
We are not those science expert nerds.
We are
We're the marketing nerds.
That's right. So we're on camera. They're in the lab.
Yes.
Let's say hello to them.
Exactly.
Hi, I'm Jordan.
And I'm Josh.
And we're the AstanzaLaser Science Guys. And today we're going to be teaching you a little bit about how lasers and light work and interact with each other. Hey Josh, did you know that laser was an acronym?
I didn't until I got here.
Well, you're going to learn more about it today.
And so will you.
So the first letter of the acronym is L, which obviously stands for light. Now, light is just part of the electromagnetic spectrum. It goes all the way from radio waves, which gives you music in your car, and then all the way to gamma radiation, which you get from the birth of a star or the Incredible Hulk. So our lasers are somewhere in between those two, mostly using visible light to do the treatments onto your skin.
Yeah. We have a great way to show you the difference between kind of polychromatic light and filter light, which is still polychromatic, right? You can still have a couple different variations of green or blue or red in a narrower bandwidth. We're not quite at one wavelength monochromatic light like a laser, but we're getting there. We have our flashlight here, and you can see here that it's white light and it's polychromatic. So that means it has all the wavelengths of light that we can see with our eyes all in one, which is why it appears white to us.
Now, we're going to put a filter in front of our flashlight and filter out the light so we can get that narrow band that Josh was talking about. Lights, please. As you see, when we apply the filter, our white polychromatic light turns into just a couple shades of red. Now, let's try it with green. You can see now it's just green filtered light.
Great. Lights on, please. Awesome. So when we talk about laser light energy, we're talking about one very specific wavelength, like 1064, 532, 694, 755. And those pieces of light have one other piece that we haven't talked about yet, and that is a vector, right? When we shine a flashlight into the room, it comes down in a cone, bounces off of everything, and we can see very, very well or a little bit better in the dark, right? You got to find your keys, power goes out, etc. Now, when we talk about a laser, that has enough energy that it's going to be directionally focused. And directionally focused means when it starts, it's going to have the same shape and size, if it has no lens in front of it, from one place to another. And for that, to the lab.
To the lab.
Thanks, Josh and Jordan. My name is Nick the Quick, and this is the Astanza Lab. So right here, we got the duality, the Astanza duality to be more specific, and it's responsible for producing two wavelengths. You have 1064 nanometer and 532 nanometer. Now, 1064 nanometer is an infrared light, so it's not on the visible spectrum. This is exactly why it is good for targeting those blacks, grays, all of those darker pigmented colors, or darker tone colors, in other words. And 532 nanometers is good for is a green light, so it's good for targeting those reds, pinks, oranges, all of those warmer tone colors. Now, Josh and Jordan were telling y'all about polychromatic light, and they got a flashlight to illustrate that. However, here in the Astanza lab, that is not the main type of light we are worried about. The type of light we are worried about is monochromatic light, meaning that it is just one color. So for instance, 1064 is an infrared light. So it's not on the visible spectrum, which is exactly why it is good for targeting those blacks, grays, and darker tone colors. Now 532 is a green light, so it's good for targeting those red, pinks, and all those warmer colors. So another characteristic of a laser is that it has to be collimated, which means it keeps a structural integrity throughout space. So no matter how far I shine it, it won't get bigger, it won't get smaller, it'll stay the exact same. So here we have our aiming beam right here, and all that is just the pilot light showing where the laser will fire. You see it on my hand, and you see it against the wall. Now this light does not get bigger, it does not get smaller, it is collimated, which is why it's also a laser. Wait, we can't forget the proper eyewear. As I said before, 1064 is good for treating those blacks, grays, and darker pigmented colors. And the magazine paper is going to react similarly to the way your skin reacts when the pigment is targeted, and the pigment just kind of is released in your body, and this, you'll see it in the magazine. So you hear that loud snap? That is exactly what we're looking for, and that is indicative of a proper treatment. Now, the cool part is when I treat area without color, without pigment, the snap isn't as loud, and that's because the laser is not reacting with the pigment because there is none to react with. This means that lasers are completely and 100% safe if used properly and you have the proper eyewear. Join us next time to see the laser fired on an actual real-life Homo sapien. Wow, so cool. I'm excited. Anyways, thank you for your time, and back to J-Dub and J-Bird in the classroom. Until next time.
Now that we're done with the lab, let's move on to A, right? A stands for amplification. So first we have light, and now we have to amplify that light in order so that we can do treatments with it. How do we amplify that? By the next letter, S, which stands for stimulation. We have to add energy into our system, whether that be with just voltage, right? In a diode laser, or a flash lamp in a solid state laser. A flash lamp is just a very bright light, right? We use those mechanisms to add energy into our system so we can amplify the light, so we can do our treatments.
Okay, now that we had talked about the A and the S in laser, here's a little graphic to show you. As you can see, as you drop the ball in, it excites the other balls on the mousetrap, and then we get this big, crazy explosion, this big buildup of energy, right? Kind of watch it again. One ball goes in, it excites the rest of them. This is the stimulation portion of amplification. So we stimulate it by dropping the ball in, and then it's amplified by the rest of the mousetrap balls, right, to continue to propagate that until the entire area is excited. So what do you do now with all of this energy that you just built up? Well, if you've ever had a bunch of kindergartners that you've just given a bunch of candy and sweets to, there's really only one solution. You got to open the door, you got to direct them out to go play. And that brings us to E, emission.
As Josh said, we got all this energy in our room full of kindergartners, right? And now they're hyped. There's too much energy in the room. It's unstable, right? We can't live like this. So we need to get these kindergartners out of the room. Similarly, in our laser, we have the exact same situation going. We've done our amplification, we've done our stimulation. Now let's too hype in this laser, right? So as the kindergartners leave the room, as the energy comes out of the system, it gets emitted as a particle of light called a photon.
And when we talk about the photons in the laser, right, we're talking about how do we gather them up to put them on the playground, right? That's the big question, right? Because they're gonna go everywhere. So think about it as kind of shaking up a bottle of champagne. It's the way I like to think about it. You have a cork, which you can pull out, and you have the glass end, which for all intents and purposes is not breaking, right? Unless you drop it or whatever. But for this model, it's a perfect seal for the champagne. And we are shaking up the champagne, shaking up the champagne, shaking up the champagne. At some point in time, we are gonna bounce the champagne around, like the photons, in the laser for the light cavity. And eventually one of those sides, the cork side, is gonna pop, right? And we're gonna get all of that energy out at once, right? That's a little bit different for a couple different variations of lasers, but for the propagation and amplification and emission of radiation, that is how it works. So once we get all of that shaken up, we have our photons gathered up, we got them all together, we push them all out the door at once in our photon kindergarten class, and that is gonna produce our beam of light, right? And those photons and our kindergartners are bouncing up and down at a single wavelength of light, 1064, 532, 755, 694, right? That is where we get our monochromatic light and how we get the energy to do work from the laser.
Now finally, we're on the last letter R, which stands for radiation. Now those photons that Josh was talking about are technically considered radiation, but like I said, light, a lot of things are considered radiation. Light is part of the electromagnetic spectrum. The electromagnetic spectrum includes everything from radio waves all the way up to gamma radiation. Now, how do we differentiate between good radiation that we can use for lasers and bad radiation that can harm you, right? Well, we differentiate those between ionizing and non-ionizing. Ionizing radiation is really powerful, has a lot of energy, and that energy can hit your DNA and change it, causing cancer. Non-ionizing radiation is what you encounter every day, right? Radio waves, even your microwave is non-ionizing radiation. Those are just going to pass right past your DNA and not even mess with them or change them at all, right? So our lasers use very good non-ionizing radiation, can't harm you, can't give you cancer, which is kind of what we like.
But just as looking at the sun hurts your eyes, so can lasers. Always wear your goggles.
Absolutely.
Now that we've walked you through the acronym of laser, light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation, I hope you learned something great. I hope that your laser knowledge is a little bit stronger than it was the day before. If you have any questions about that, please comment and we'll get back to you and answer any relevant questions that we can. And from all of us here at AstanzaLaser and the Science Guys, I'm Josh Walsh.
I'm Jordan Hall.
And we'll see you next time.
I love how they show the difference of the filtered and unfiltered light, like when he had the green piece of paper with that lens on there. And they're always fun to watch too. I love how they explain things.
Yeah, they are. And the props they use are just off the charts.
Out of this world.
They're out of this world. They're cosmic.
They're scientific. Oh, I ruined it with that one. We're going to end it.
Okay. Well, we could probably double down on the scientific metaphors. What would that be? Terminology?
Isms? I don't know. Yeah, terminology,
yeah,
maybe.
But we'll leave it
Linguistics.
there with the Science Guys.
The Science Guys. We've got a brand new client feature that I'm personally extra excited about because it's something we don't get to talk about all the time on the show. And that is something that is also very popular in the tattoo removal world, but specifically permanent makeup removal.
That's true. When people think of tattoo removal, they think of like the heart or the
with the arrow, the mom
and
tattoo.
the mom
Yeah.
tattoo. Yeah, don't take your mom off your tattoos because you love your mom, right?
Yeah.
My name is Courtney McGuire and I'm the owner of Her Velvet Hand here in Houston, Texas. This is a cosmetic and reconstructive tattoo studio with an emphasis of laser tattoo removal. Her Velvet Hand is a cosmetic and reconstructive tattoo studio. We also specialize in brow artistry and we also do laser tattoo removal. So with that, we maintain the integrity of the skin. Our focus is to make sure that we have natural realistic results, and that we want to make sure that whatever we give someone, we're enhancing and not changing. At Her Velvet Hand, we make sure that we do not compromise the integrity of your skin. So we are constantly evolving and learning new techniques to make sure that we stay with the times and we don't do anything that's going to compromise the results and the skin long term. So that's why we brought on laser tattoo removal, because as trends are evolving and things are changing, we notice that people have existing work that needs to be lifted and removed out of the skin before we provide something newer and fresh. When our guests come into the studio, I want to make sure that they immediately feel safe, that they feel heard, and that they feel welcomed. And when you arrive here, you're greeted with the friendliest staff. You have water, you've got little details that are all over the studio that is special and makes you feel like you're an individual coming in, and we're seeing you and we're customizing the experience solely for you. And that is the most important aspect of the studio. As a tattoo artist, I've been in the industry for over 7 years. And as I get more guests coming into the studio, we are seeing that more and more people have existing tattoo work on their eyebrows and microblading. And with the amount of touch-ups that people have received, the work becomes untouchable. So without lifting or removing the ink from the skin, we are unable to do anything fresh and natural. So we brought on laser tattoo removal to help break up that pigment, give a fresh start. It is something that allows clients to have our newer technology, newer pigments, to design something that is better for them long-term, that doesn't age inappropriate. So we are able to actually give them something a lot more flattering and something that's gonna stay long-term. It's a long-term investment. So back in 2012, I invested in a laser tattoo removal course with Astanza. There was a center located here in Houston, Texas. I was an esthetician at the time, and I wanted to open up a laser tattoo removal at a tattoo studio and partner up with a friend of mine. I was pretty young, and so I wasn't ready to invest in that kind of future. And so I carried on as an esthetician, became a cosmetic tattoo artist, and then opened up my studio. Full circle, 10 years later, I decided to bring on laser tattoo removal. When I was doing some research, Astanza was the company that I knew and could trust that was going to be the one for me. I didn't realize that when I invested in the machine that it was exactly 10 years later that I had taken the course initially. I was reminded on Facebook that on the day that we had our training here at Her Velvet Hand, I had taken the New Look training course in Houston in 2012. So there's something really special about our connection. Immediately partnering up with Astanza, I was able to speak to a human being when I was doing my research on whether or not this was the right laser for our studio. I was completely paid attention to, taken care of, well supported up until today. So even after a year of having the laser, I am able to call and get immediate support from the team. We are well taken care of, we're heard, we're listened to, and there's always a solution involved, which is really ideal for the way I run my business. And I always want to make sure that we've got the support that we need in order to keep the business functioning. As a cosmetic tattoo artist, when I first started, I wasn't very experienced. I went from being an esthetician to tattooing, and it's a completely different realm. So there was a lot of error in my work. And one of my very first clients, she was struggling with frontal fibrosing alopecia, where she lost hair from her eyebrows to midway to her hairline. So giving her brows was something that meant a lot to her, because that was something that she lost. And she was a teacher, and so I decided to give her cosmetic tattooing. As I started getting better, I knew I could do better with her, and I wanted to start over. So she trusted in me. I did laser tattoo removal on her brows. I lifted that old pigment out, and then I started all the way over. And I was able to give her brows that are going to stay with her for a really long time in the condition that they are meant to be. I'm able to give her something that's going to flatter her features, and she's got her eyebrows back. And so I was able to start over and do a better job and maintain the integrity of her skin without overworking her just to correct the work that I've initially done. So She's so happy. She was able to go back to school, and her confidence is just through the roof now, and that means the world to me.
Daniel Broom over at Bonsai Tattoo Removal said, amazing company with amazing support. They want to see you succeed. Everyone from Josh in sales to Bennett in digital marketing to Crystal in training to Amy, whose job title is literally client success manager, are all very knowledgeable and supportive in helping get your laser business off on the right foot. Thank you, Daniel. Next, we have Laura, who says, AstanzaLaser is an awesome company, such a pleasure to work with, so impressed by their help, guidance, and knowledge. 10 out of 10 would recommend Astanza for all your laser needs. They're so helpful and informative. Next, we have Andy Just, who says, absolutely great company to work with. They take care of you from beginning to end. 10 out of 10. Thank you, Andy. Next, we have Christina Heckert. She says, from Bryce in sales, Crystal in training and education, to Saxton in marketing, this team has been amazing. I always get help when I need it and good direction for shaping my business. The team at Astanza really puts customers first. Thank you, Christina. Next, we have Dr. Shaw, a recent client. He says, can't say enough, an outstanding company with outstanding folks. And big shout out to Taylor Stoltz. She is awesome. Thank you, Dr. Shaw.